fifth phase of the FERRAO legacy, my new chapter in life. Regarding my siblings, Millie and Jean were already married. Sally's married Ludes, and the two went to Dubai. Their children, Mark and Sharon, were taken care of by my parents in Agasai as they were young, especially after Salas's death. Bernard left all his belongings in Agasai as he got a job in Dubai. Marcella stayed on with the parents in Goa and completed her college. I visited my parents each summer and winter and paid them for my stay in Agasai. While in Delhi, I went each week to Sunday Mass at St. Mary's, Delhi. Everyone treated me in esteem as I was a lector and performed several activities in the church. On each occasion at Mass, I met Hubert and Carmen Pinto. They introduced me to their niece Fatima Pinto after Mass. She lived with them as a guest and seemed to be a nice young girl, but this bachelor would not bite. I was friendly with everyone anyway, but in no way would like to be in any kind of relationship. Earlier, when Dad was doing temp job in Delhi after retirement from his original post, he was met by a girl after Sunday Mass. Dad told me that the pretty North Indian girl courageously told him, "I love your son very much." I responded to Dad later, saying that I was not interested. Later in life, I went to Goa on vacation to see my parents. I traveled the usual way. I went by Frontier Mail, a well-known Delhi to Bombay train. I stayed in Bombay and spent a few days with Millie, Audrey, and Alan. From there, I was on my way to Goa by Laxshmi bus, another famous Bombay to Goa bus line at the time. I was seated next to this young girl who wore a red and white polka dot dress. She never got out of the bus for any breaks. I went out at the dinner stop and invited her, but she did not want to get out of the bus. In the morning, I bought her tea and we reached Panjim, Goa. I helped her with her luggage at a local bus stop as she was on her way to Rebandar. Before we parted, she gave me her address and invited me to come over someday to Rebandar. My dad was there to pick me up and we went to Agasai, my usual vacation place. During my stay in Agasai, I did not get a chance to see her. However, after my trip back to Delhi, I found her long letter waiting for me, thanking me for all the help I rendered to her during the trip. As a gentleman, I had to respond. Hence, from then on, the communication by mail continued. Since I used to receive all my mail at my office, my colleagues, especially David, Vincent, Joshi, Rawat, Mitra, and Bobby, used to hand me the mail and tease me as they knew something was brewing with this young bachelor as they saw the sender's address and the sender's name. I used to go home and read the letters and respond. Those were the non-emails, non-cell phone days. All these so-called love letters are in a binder in a box currently. Finally, you must have guessed the name by now. Cleo booked our tickets for the ensuing summer vacation by Laxshmi bus. This time, she held my hand and said those magical words. Which girl would dare do that? I gave in, and after some hesitation, and the proposal ensued. We informed our parents and the engagement took place at Agasai. Cleo worked as a nurse in Bombay, although Cleo's family was not well off as they returned from Africa, where business had flourished earlier before, but no more now as they had to use all their savings in the Goa house. I still preferred her to the other girl as I was already committed to her and was not a person to go back on my word. My mother had informed me earlier that she had a proposal with another girl for me, who was the only daughter of a wealthy family. They too had a big mansion with a large piece of land and property, with various fruit trees as part of dowry. However, that was not to be with me. My parents accepted my proposal nonetheless, as they had no choice. Later, my mother had invited the girl, who would have been my wife, to our wedding and introduced me to her at the Agasai reception. Cleo and I married on January 4th, 1975. The wedding took place at St. Lawrence Church in Agasai, and the reception was held in our ancestral home in the hall. Father Tony, a former Delhi neighbor turned priest, officiated and was assisted by my uncles Pad Sipi and Pad Assis. We spent our first night in a room at the end of the hall in the Agasai house. However, the Delhi reception that I had arranged for later was even greater, with about 400 people. I paid for all the travel expenses for Dad and baby to come to Delhi, food and music for both the receptions. I had a lot of friends and staff members at work, and the helpful people to make arrangements were Pereira, David, Brown, Vincent, Grover, and others. A new life began for me. Joshua was born on August 8, 1976. Joanne was born on October 1979. Finally, Melissa was born on May 1st, 1982. For each of the three baptisms, there was a big party in PCS Presentation Convent Hall. I was always still in the limelight in Delhi, as I was involved in many social activities. Hence, all the people I knew came for all our parties. There were 3 separate albums made for all 3 of the baptismal party that included Mass by our family photographer, Grover. Later in our life, Cleo and I joined the Marriage Encounter, a group that helps married life become better for couples. Father Pepe, a Spanish priest, and couples like Mel and Jean, Victor and Sheila, Raul and Barbara, Babu and Grace, and others met. We all took turns to give talks on various topics, and everyone spoke highly about us as a couple since we were the youngest. All these talks are in a package in our shelf. Early in the 70s, Delhi experienced a calamity of water shortage. I made a lot of trips getting water for our Delhi house, climbing a flight of stairs. Due to this, next day I was struck by a virus where I could not move my limbs. A Mrs. Jelani, who was the wife of Cleo's former patient of Gedor Tools, an elite company, at one point took me to a specialist at All India Institute of Medical Sciences. I had to take cortisone medication that improved my situation. However, due to the medications, I had put on extra weight and had to get new clothes. The sisters and priests in Delhi prayed over me, and by miracle, I was finally healed to a normal life. Thank you. End of phase 5.